Grandpa wasn't answering his door, so I went in. Grandpa? I heard retching coming from the bathroom. Grandpa! It's Sarah! You okay? Blah. Grandpa had grown up in Soviet Russia and had beat cancer twice. He was tough as hell and mentally sharp as a dagger, but he was 85 years old. I was only 16, but I already knew a thing or two about death. Namely, there is no avoiding it. It comes for all of us, sooner or later. And by the time you were 85, it started to look sooner rather than later. I pulled out my phone, ready to call 911, but then I heard the toilet flush. I stood in front of the bathroom door and listened as the tap turned on. Grandpa? I'm okay. I'm okay, I heard him mutter. A moment later, he swung the door open, and what I saw made me drop my phone in shock. Grandpa had his shirt off, and a massive bump that wasn't there the last time I saw him protruded from his belly. Something was moving around in there. It looked like he was pregnant, and the baby was kicking. But of course that wasn't possible, for multiple reasons. Grandpa? Come, Sarah, he said, walking past me and plopping down on his reclining chair in the living room. He didn't look good. His face was drained of all its color and he was sweating. And there was that damn baby bump, or whatever it was. We talk. Bring vodka. You know where it is. I nodded. 2 glasses, said Grandpa. I went to the cupboard and got the vodka and 2 glasses. I knew that the doctor had told Grandpa that he wasn't supposed to drink anymore, but the look on his face had told me that he wouldn't take no for an answer. Mom will kill us, I said. Grandpa shrugged. Some things are for no tell. Then he tossed back his drink and immediately poured another. Drink, child, he said. I hesitated. I'd never had alcohol before. Mom was a recovering alcoholic and Dad was, as far as I knew, an active alcoholic who had left us long ago. But Grandpa was staring at me, waiting. I took a sip and felt it burn my mouth, burn my throat, and then slide down into my stomach. I started to feel warm and lightheaded right away. I took another sip. What's going on, Grandpa? I asked, nodding at his swollen belly. The drink had emboldened me, and I felt no desire to beat around the bush. I never tell anyone this, said Grandpa, sighing. 58 years ago, I go to Venus. Luckily, I had just swallowed my drink, because if I hadn't, I would have spit it all over him. What? Venus? You don't mean like the planet Venus, right? You mean like, I don't know, a strip club or something? Grandpa shook his head and poured another drink into his glass. Planet. As he said this, something moved suddenly in his stomach. Like there was something in there trying to get out. He groaned. I tried to focus through the shock of what I was hearing, and the alcohol making me all loose. I knew that Grandpa had a mysterious past, working for the Soviet government, but this was too much. Venus is hot, I said. Too hot for humans. Grandpa nodded. True now. Then, Venus warm like Florida. We make it hot. He tossed his head back and downed his vodka. Is this one of your jokes? I asked, a bad feeling creeping up through the warmth of the booze. No joke, said Grandpa. We go. Secret Soviet mission. We are more advanced than what news says. We go to moon already. Next, Venus. I cannot tell the sense of excitement and wonder as we explore space. The first ones. What is out there? Soviet government wants something to conquer this planet. Aboard the ship. I only want to know what is out there. Suddenly, Grandpa's belly swelled and shook. I started to feel lightheaded. I thought you were in the military, I said. Yes, said Grandpa. This too. Listen. We approach Venus. It is covered in clouds. We can't see what is down there. We see nothing, just clouds. As we launch our shuttle, we are scared. We can burn up or explode, or something worse. But we have to know. It is horrible and big thrill too. The first men on new planet. We think we are ready for anything. We are wrong. By then, I was fully absorbed and no longer had any doubt that Grandpa had really been to Venus. Why haven't you ever told me this? I asked, taking another sip of vodka. Grandpa held up a finger. We go through clouds. And we see incredible big oceans, big forests like Earth. We are shouting, happy. The biggest discovery. More than we dreamed. All right there. Grandpa looked over my shoulder, and a wide smile spread out over his face for a moment. Then he groaned and clutched his stomach as whatever was in there poked at it. What happened? I almost shouted. We land. Readings are good. Good oxygen, good carbon, good acids, good everything. We go out in our suits. It is just a tropical Earth. And then I take off helmet. I breathe air. It is good and clean. I cry. For a second time in life. This is unbelievable, I said. Give your glass, said Grandpa. Noticing that I had emptied it, I held it out eagerly as he poured some more vodka into it. So what happened? Why is it hot now? I look around at Miracle. We 3 shipmates watch me. Scared. When I don't die, they take off helmets too. Then we are shouting in joy, but this is just beginning. If trees and water, then life. What kind of life? We look and see nothing. Then I hear something. It is voice but in head. You can have anything, it says. So what do you want? Like thought in head. But not me, something else. I took a good drink. I was definitely getting tipsy. What? Like somebody telepathically communicating? I asked. Grandpa nodded. I look at others. They look at me. We all heard it. In head. Then we hear laughing. We look and there are 4 beautiful women naked. Grandpa smiled again before emptying his glass. We make love with them, he said softly. That did it for me. Dude, I said. What the fuck are you telling me here? You went to Venus and hooked up with a bunch of beautiful women that happened to be there? I laughed. You got me, Grandpa. You had me for a minute until you started talking about telepathy and naked women. Guess I should have known from the start, really. People can't go on Venus. It's too hot. Come, Sarah, he said. Come. The room was starting to spin a little, and I couldn't feel my teeth. My stomach was churning out of warning. I'm drunk, I said. I don't want to drink anymore. Come, said Grandpa. Here. He held out a hand. I reached over from the couch and took it, standing up, a little wobbly. He put my hand on his massive, throbbing belly, and all at once, I saw it. I was everywhere. I was the thick, unbroken sheet of cloud circling the planet. I was every tree, every rock, every drop of water, and blade of grass. I was everywhere, and everything except them, the 4 men that had landed on my planet. This is where all of my attention was focused. I was asking them what they wanted. I felt a strange joy at their desires at first. It was something that I had never experienced. I had never known desire, mine or anyone else's. Perhaps that is because I had never known anyone else at all. At first, it was easy to please them, and I felt happy when they felt happy. I gave them women, I gave them drink, I gave them food. I gave them soft beds to rest their bodies and beautiful views to gaze upon. For some time, they were happy, and I was happy. And so I gave it to them, because I wanted them to stay. I gave them dominion over the seas and the forest. I gave them power to create anything they wanted out of the planet's energy. They created many wonderful things, like music, unlike anything that has ever existed on their planet or mine. Great, elegant structures reaching up to the sky, elaborate games to pass the idle hours. I was bursting with happiness. But they wanted more. I had nothing more to give, and I told them that. Only one listened. The rest sought to take what was not there and could never be there. They raised armies of rocks and trees, brought them to life, and pitted them against each other in the kingdoms they had devised. They created human soldiers too, a dozen at first, then 1,000, then millions. The planet was constantly ablaze with gunfire, and death rattles were heard from hill to blackened hill. They created terrible weapons. Weapons that could do one thing and one thing only. Destroy the planet and everything on it. And so they did. But the one who listened, as the first bomb went off, he was in the air on his shuttle. Looking around, I saw the hopelessness of it all. My planet was dying and would soon be dead. I went inside of him. I pulled my hand away from Grandpa's belly and looked him in the eyes. He nodded slowly. "It has been growing inside me ever since," he said. "It is ready to be born." Grandpa, what the fuck? I had just jumped inside the consciousness of some all-powerful alien being that was also greeting inside of Grandpa's belly, ready to be born. What? How? The room was spinning all the way around now. "You remind me of her," he said. "You are alike. This is why I tell you." He winced in pain as something tried to poke through his stomach. What does this mean? What happens when this thing is born? Grandpa downed his vodka, poured another one, then downed that one too. He held out the bottle to me. I took it and put it to my lips. "Sarah, my love, this is goodbye." Tears welled up in my eyes. "Grandpa, no!" "Now you know," he said. "This cannot exist. All will be destroyed. Come, give Grandpa one more hug and go." He stood up and stretched out his arms. I walked into them and hugged him tight. "I love you, Grandpa," I said. "I love you, Sarah," he said. Then he broke free and nodded to the front door. I walked away, crying, and before I got in my car, I looked back and saw that the flames had already started dancing in the window.